is let's do this. Oh, Nanaki, how's it going, man? Good to see you. I thought you had elemental, I guess not. Hey, do you have elemental? What the heck? Who has elemental? Wait. Like, what the heck? There we go. Red 13 and Yuffie are destined to die. Sorry, guys. Oh, I should steal. Dang. He has stuff to steal. He has a thing that you can steal, doesn't he? A curse ring. Curse ring would be dope. I'm gonna give you Ultima too, so it gets some AP. You know what I want? I want some Chinese food. I love Chinese food. There's a great Chinese food place down the street that I order from sometimes. Last time I ordered Chinese food from this Chinese place, they sent like, it seemed like the owner of the shop or something. He was like an older guy, and he came by and he was like, how you doing? And I was like, I'm fine, how you doing? And he was like, I'm just trying to get all this food to all these hungry people. I thought that sounded hilarious. Like, I don't know why, it just cracked me up. I'm just trying to get all this food to all these hungry people. It's all these hungry people, and I gotta feed them all. Where's Red 13? Yo, got the curse ring. Alright, do your worst. Put me to sleep, you jerk. Oh my god, Yuffie actually survived? Wait. How did Yuffie survive? Oh, because of the M barrier. Darn, I could have revived Red 13 and maybe made him survive too. Oh, you don't get anything from this fight, never mind. I thought you got AP from it. I guess it makes sense because you didn't kill anything. Wow, wow. Well, here comes the boring part. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole game, but for us playing it now, it's a little boring because it's just going to be a lot of text mashing. Probably, this might be the biggest text part of the whole game. I'd have to think about it. Midgar has a lot of really long text sections, but this one's pretty long. But we get to listen to the live stream, so it's all worth it. Either that or the Nibelheim flashback. Yeah, the Nibelheim flashback's really long, but it at least has some action in between, you know? This is just straight text matching. I mean, there's barely even any movement. You have to move like twice. So in terms of just literally pressing circle, this might be the longest. Plus, there's this cutscene, and then there's this long part here where you have to wait, and then like the end part's really long too. There's like certain parts where you're not even doing anything. Cloud's face in that FMV kills me. Yeah, it's pretty great. He's like my face. He's like the death face. I do really love this part though. I'll never forget the first time I played this part. It's just crazy. Super eye-opening. I mean, you have to remember, like, when I played this game, this is the first game I ever played with a plot. Like, an actual plot, you know? Like, this is the first game I ever played that was like a novel. I had played, like, Duck Hunt before this in Super Mario, and, like, games that had maybe plots or, like, backstories, but nothing that was, like, written like an RPG or a book. I didn't get to play any of the RPGs on SNES. I skipped straight from Genesis, really NES, but I played a little bit of Genesis, to PS1, and this was one of the first PS1 games I played. I played Resident Evil at the same time, which had a plot, but it wasn't necessarily like a novel written plot. It was more like action oriented, like watching a TV show or something. So something like this with like all this text and like all this exposition, like it was just like stunning to me. I couldn't believe that something like this even existed in a video game. At this point, video games were more like just a quick way to have fun and like you know, like for me, video games weren't a hobby yet. This was the game that made video game. Is it this one first? Yeah. This was the game that made video games a hobby for me, and eventually a career, because up until this point, video games were just a way for me to have fun with my dad. Like, that's all video games were. Like, I'd be at my dad's house, we'd do some, you know, play some games or whatever, and then he'd be like, oh, you want to play some video games? We're like, yeah. We like pop in Duck Hunt and shoot some ducks, and pop in Godzilla 2 and wonder what the heck's going on, and then that was it for, you know, it wasn't really gaming for me. It was just a thing to do for fun, you know. This was the first game that made it gaming. This was like, oh, this is actually a thing that you can like get into. So it was an eye-opener for me. And I had never really experienced anything that, you know, drug me along so far, making me think something was one way and then have it be another way, you know? Like, back then, I was like 11, 12, I don't know how old I was when I first played Final Fantasy VII. But, maybe younger. But, at that point, I had only read books that were like 100 pages long or something, you know, like pretty simple books that weren't really like big twists, or like something seemed to be one way for the whole time, and then, you know, there's like that twist ending. There was nothing like that. I had never experienced anything like that. This is the first thing I experienced where I had played this game for 40, 50 hours, you know. I was a kid, so Carry Armor alone was 10 hours long. Carry Armor took me forever to beat, so I had played this game for 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, and, you know, thought I knew the plot, and then this turns everything, and like, that was an experience that I'll never forget. That was like crazy to me. So, yeah, it was an experience. And this scene is the special one that really like brings it all home. Everything from the moment that they fall into the live stream to the moment that Cloud does that like shake off while they're in the room, like he does that stretch while they're in the high wind. That entire part is just like incredible. I've always really liked the stretch that Cloud does. It's like the turning point of the whole game. It's kind of crazy. That's when you know that a game or a plot is good, when something so simple like that is actually like super important and like actually is like a marker for a lot of things. Yeah, the whole beginning of the game where Cloud is on a mission to kill Sephiroth. It's a weird feeling to realize that you weren't really in control of any of that, and Cloud was just being summoned. And then, you know, once you beat the game and go back and think about it, you realize that's not even Sephiroth anyways. And then, you know, your mind is blown all over again. That was probably one of the biggest shocks to me, was the fact that you don't see much of Sephiroth in the game. That blew my mind. I didn't realize that till way later either. Like, not until, you know, a couple of years ago, when I really like stopped to think about all of it. And that's what's so great about this game. You learn so many things that, like, not just little things, but like big things. This part's great. He's coming to see Tifa, lol. What a loser. What a loser. Yeah, I mean, this absolutely blew my mind. I mean, there's so many things about this scene that blows my mind. Like, the whole plot, yeah, but then just the fact that this even exists. Because, like I said, when I played this, I had never played anything like this. I had never played something where, like, we really sat here for, like, 30 minutes reading text. And I was actually, like, so into it the whole time, you know. As a kid, you know, once text goes on for more than 2 minutes, I'm like, come on, let me shoot something. You know? That's just kind of the way. I mean, I don't know. When I was a kid, I was a little more into plots, even than maybe I am now. I tend to get, like, I guess, impatient with games nowadays. I was a lot less impatient as a kid. I used to read books and actually, like, be able to read lore and not get bored with it. Getting older, I get a little more impatient. Like, I love a plot just like anyone else, but if I play a brand new PS4 game and it's been like 30 minutes since I've shot something, I get a little like, alright, can I like do something here? So yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Sephiroth with the long silver hair and the sword that we see throughout the whole game is not Sephiroth, it's Genova. The only things in this game that are Sephiroth are the big giant dude in the ice crystal and Sephiroth during the flashback. During the flashback, it's Sephiroth. And then the big thing in the crystal is Sephiroth. Everything else is Genova. The story is that before all of this happened, the whole Nibelheim flashback, that is Sephiroth and that is Cloud. And we learn here that Cloud actually kills Sephiroth by stabbing him and throwing him off into the life stream. But Sephiroth is so powerful and so all-knowing that he actually absorbs the life stream and becomes the giant Sephiroth in the crater. So the Sephiroth here is really Sephiroth, and then Cloud kills him and he goes into life stream and becomes the giant crystal Sephiroth. And then the Sephiroth that comes back and we see throughout the entire game is Genova. That's why every time you see Sephiroth, he drops a weird arm on the ground and it becomes a Genova monster. It's not because Sephiroth's going around carrying Genova the whole game. It's because he is Genova. That was the one thing that like really confused me as a kid. That once that made sense, I was like, like that was the big like click moment. So I was always like, what is Sephiroth just walking around with Genova? Like, how does he just like every time we see Sephiroth, he's like, here, have Genova. And he drops like these little Genova bombs on us. It's like, how does this happen? This doesn't make any sense. Then when you realize that is Genova, you're like, oh, it all makes sense now. It's funny because as a kid I always thought that was something they just like, that didn't have an explanation. I was like, oh, that's just a funny video game thing where there's no explanation for it. It's just, oh, we wanted a boss here, so Sephiroth drops Genova. And then when it actually made sense, I was like, man, these guys are geniuses. Even the funny stuff that doesn't seem to make sense, it actually makes sense. Not to say that everything in this game makes sense, though. There are some plot holes that exist. So yeah, this is Sephiroth. This is the flashback. This is what actually happens. It's not Cloud that goes up there, it's Zack. Who's this guy? What's my most disliked plot hole? I don't know. I have to think about it. I can't think of any plot holes at the moment, but I know they exist. A lot of them are just small. You know, stuff, funny video game stuff. Every video game has plot holes just because, like, it has to, you know? This is the part that just, like, oh, pretty crazy. I think everyone that watched this for the first time, their heart was, like, on edge right here when he takes off this helmet. It's so crazy. Yeah, the reveal is so good. Only some games have the ability to do a reveal like this and have it really be like crazy. This one truly is. After so long of thinking, you know, they plan it so well because at the beginning of the game you expect the Nibelheim flashback to be true, or at least mostly true. And then it shows all the times, oh, it was him. All the times that you thought it wasn't him. It shows the truck again. Shows this. Now this makes sense that he would be there defending. You were watching me the whole time. That quote from Tifa. You were watching me the whole time. He made the promise at the fountain now makes sense. He said he would always be there, and he was. Because that was one thing, you know, you think about throughout the game, like, Cloud made that promise to Tifa, but then he just goes off, and he doesn't, you know, he disappears for so long. It's like, weren't you there for Tifa, Cloud? What are you doing, man? But he was. We just didn't know. Yeah, you know, a lot of people that haven't played this game, or, you know, maybe just aren't into RPGs or something, it's a shame because people think that Aerith dying is like the big twist of the game, and they're like, oh, there's no reason to play Final Fantasy VII. I already know that Aerith dies, and that's not anywhere near. That's planned. You know, that's something that makes complete sense because she's supposed to be like a Jesus or Christ figure. She's supposed to be she's supposed to be a martyr, a holy martyr. So it makes sense that she dies and then brings Holy at the end of the game. So, like, that isn't even a shock. Like, it is to us as kids because we didn't think she could actually die. But if you look at the story, it's not exactly a huge shock that she dies. It makes sense that she dies, especially after the fact. But this is like, you know, you don't expect this. No one expects this. Maybe my wife would. Because every time I watch a game, like a story, or talk about a book, or watch a movie with my wife, she's always like, "Oh, I knew that would happen." I don't know why. She's like the ultimate. She knows everything before it happens. She's the ultimate plot guesser. It always drives me crazy. I'm like, "Oh, did you see that coming?" And she's like, "Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen." Like, come on, you're blowing it. So yeah, this is where Sephiroth dies. This is the last time we see actual Sephiroth. Cloud throws him off here. And I love this part. Some people might think that this is a plot hole. Like, how is Cloud so strong that he can do this? But, you know, adrenaline's a crazy thing. Also, at this point, Cloud has Genova cells in his body. So, he's not as strong as Sephiroth, but he's strong enough to do something like that. How'd Eris get halfway across the world to get to the City of the Ancients without any form of transportation? Let's see. She gets... Once you see her... I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's exactly a plot hole, but more of just we don't know. There's plenty of ways she could, but we just don't know the answer, you know? Gotta love this part, too, where, like, all the clouds combine into one. Well, yeah, this is, I mean, when I said this is the last time you see actual Sephiroth, this is the last time you see, like, that model of Sephiroth being Sephiroth. After this, that model is Genova the whole rest of the game. You see Sephiroth in the crystal, and then obviously you see him at the final battle. But yeah, that's like the final time you see Sephiroth until the end of the game. She flies. I was trying to think if maybe Sephiroth took her there, but I don't think so. Well, not Sephiroth, but Genova. That's another crazy thing. Like, you just, when you really open up the plot of this game, you just constantly get these, like, crazy, like, realizations in your head. One of the big ones is Sephiroth doesn't kill Eris. Genova does. And you're like, wait, what? That's true. Sephiroth doesn't kill. I mean, you can think of it as Sephiroth is controlling Genova, sort of, or Genova's doing Sephiroth's bidding. So, technically, you know, indirectly, Sephiroth kills Eris. But, in terms of Sephiroth coming down and stabbing her, that's not Sephiroth, it's Genova. All the mind blows you get from realizing that. So this is the best part of the whole game. I think I might have to, like, honestly say this is the best part. Like, if I had to make a top 10 best moments of Final Fantasy VII, this might be the best moment for me. I don't know why. It just always has stuck with me. This moment where Cloud stretches after everyone leaves. Something about it. It's just the turning point of the entire game. Where Cloud is done messing around. It's time to go save the world. He's finally actually Cloud. That's what we've been waiting for the entire game. I mean, you haven't really been necessarily trying to kill Sephiroth the entire game. Before you even know who Sephiroth is, you're under the understanding that Cloud is... There's something screwed up with Cloud. So, really, you have been ever since the fountain scene, you've been waiting to see the true Cloud. And now you finally get him. And then the music plays, and it's just, oh, it's so good. And they all laugh. Here it is. Hoo-ah! Then he nods, you get the music, you're ready to party. I heard your story. It's a great story. Yeah, even with, you know, and they were able to use the crappy graphics of the game to still express, you know, that's probably one of the longest animations of the whole game. You know what I mean? Like, most of his animations are, like, short, but that one is, like, so extended, and you really see it. I don't know, it's just so good. It's silly to think that something like that's so good, but it really is. Alright. You did your job, Sid. It's time to welcome the man back. It's kind of funny, like, I honestly miss Cloud. Like, normally, you only miss Cloud for those 2 missions, and those missions are pretty quick. But we have been without Cloud for a very long time because the Midgard train, or the Coral train, took so long. So, like, welcome back, my dude. It's good. It's good to see you. He still has the Yoshiyuki from the frickin' Genova fight. I guess we'll give you the old organics. He had my wizard bracelet this whole time. Frickin' jerk. He was hoarding my frickin' wizard bracelet this entire time. That monster. Give him the nail bat. I'm not giving him the nail bat. Sorry. Not happening. Absorb. You got most of the stuff. Most of the stuff that I want you to have. I could give you Phoenix, but yeah, sure, why not? I'm gonna give you another HP plus then, because your HP is terrible. Yeah, that's one of my biggest problems with everything past Final Fantasy VII. Everything that's been made after Final Fantasy VII. My biggest gripe is that Cloud is no longer Cloud. They do not do Cloud justice in any version of Final Fantasy VII past this game. Not Advent Children, not any of the other adaptations. Fox Magoo with the $3.50 donation. Hooray for the love of Final Fantasy VII story. That was awesome. Just sitting and listening and reading as everyone got really excited about it. I agree, man. Thank you so much for the $3. I appreciate it. You the bomb. Yeah, no one ever does Cloud justice. He's this funny, witty, always cracking jokes, always making, like, light of the situation. He has his, like, emotional moments because, things happen. Eris dies. He goes through an existential crisis. Like, there's reasons why he gets, whatever you want to call it. But every part of the game that he isn't like that, he's witty and funny, and even though he still has like the Zack mentality, you still see the real Cloud come out when he like makes jokes and stuff. And none of that happens in the other game. Like, especially Advent Children. Advent Children makes me so mad. Like, I actually really like Advent Children. I like the movie. I always enjoyed watching it. It has flaws, but I like it. But Cloud is absolutely miserable in that movie. It's terrible. This whole game is about him getting over, well, not the whole game, but the whole second half of the game is him finding himself and then getting over the fact that Eris is dead and realizing that that was part of the plan all along. In the final cutscene, he realizes that Eris died so that Holy could save the world, and he becomes, he accepts the fact that Eris is dead at the end of this game. And then Advent Children starts, and he's suddenly just sad that Eris died again, and, like, can't function because Eris is dead. Like, that makes no sense. Like, what happened between A and B to where he's just, like, sad about it again? He finally accepted it, and then Advent Children, he's just like, oh, Eris is dead, I guess I can't do anything. It's stupid, and he's not as witty and funny, and it's just like, they did not do a good job with Cloud at all. He doesn't seem like Cloud one bit. Makes you mad. Makes me mad. Oh, I have 2 covers now. There's no reason to have 2 covers. Let's see. Enemy skill. Oops. That's alright. Enemy skill. Get destruct. Why don't you have barrier? Did I get barrier to someone else? Oh, I get barrier to you. That's fine. Oh, you can get deathful out of attack. Someone needs to get Ultima. I guess you can hold on to it for now. I really need the Leviathan. We gotta go to old dead Medial. Talk to me, dang it. I hate how this guy doesn't talk to you in front of the counter. I don't remember if any of these guys have anything important. I feel like someone here sells something I want. Definitely not you. He's like, hey, what the heck, buy something. Luck plus 30? I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty dope. I'd actually really like this. I'll have to remember that guy. He has a bunch of useful stuff. Expensive stuff, but useful stuff. If I ever need more bolt, if I ever need more elemental stuff, that's my guy. Ooh, you sell remedies and others. I need more money. Oh, you sell a crystal sword. Oh, you sell a crystal cross. I want it all. Would you consider doing a golden chocobo tutorial guide? That's actually going to be the next tutorial. I've taken a big break off of tutorials over the summer. Just had a lot of other things going on in the stream and everything. But whenever I do start up the tutorials again, that's going to be the one. It's already written out, I just got to make it, so. Yes. Do not fret. MP Plus! Oh, I got MP Plus materia. I want it. How could you do this to me? No. Look at these suck. Don't sell the battery. Don't worry, I'm gonna keep the battery for the rest of the game, for sure. I don't know, something about this hardcore mod, I just can't seem to hold on to money. In the normal game, by this point, I usually have too much money and I don't know what to spend it on. In the hardcore mod, I cannot keep money at all. I am constantly out of money. Part of it might be because I buy a lot of ethers and actually use them. Usually I buy a bunch of ethers and then don't even have the use for them. But... Alright. Going on to the old Junon for the best quest ever. You can rest here, right? Good old grandma always gives you a place to sleep. You don't even ask her, you just kind of go into her house and sleep. You're just like, yeah, this is my bed now, I don't give a crap. I have Ultima materia, you can't friggin' tell me I can't sleep here if I don't want to. Yeah, I don't actually know if like enemies are giving me less money or if it's just I'm spending a lot more. Maybe a little bit of both. This was also a big where the heck do I go moment for me as a kid. I was like, where am I supposed to go? Because they say you're supposed to do the underwater reactor, but like it's just a random hallway you gotta go down to realize like where it is. There's only one way there. Also, I should equip Morph in case I get lucky and get a ghost ship. I might try to do it now just so I don't have to come back, but depending on how hard the ghost ship is. Just take off counterattack for me. I love this part. Something's missing. I don't know what. There's this giant empty void behind him. Something doesn't seem right. Didn't there used to be like some kind of cannon? Your only hint is that these guys are here. Not that way. And then that guy's like, that's the underwater reactor you're going towards. I think they put that there specifically to be like, this is how you do it. Oh, Cloud. Oh, I've missed you and your super damage. Sid was good, but Cloud's got that damage. Cloud's got that damage I desire, I seek. 2 Shinra betas. That's actually really cool. Shinra betas are good. I wonder if they're any different in this game. Nope. Okay. They're not as good as I remember. I think they're good early. Yeah, we gotta fight carry armor. That's gonna be something. This is gonna be one of the first, like, big bosses that we can't just poison and roll all the way home, you know? Yeah, I'm thinking of alphas, aren't I? Alphas are good. No! Cloud! I just cured him too. Isn't carry armor a UK mailbox with arms and legs? It's possible. Holy crap, that did a lot of damage. Did I do more damage than Comet? Probably not as much as Cometeo. Oh my god, never mind. Comet does so much damage. I mean, it does have MV Turbo too, but... See ya, Hot Rod. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it a lot. Hope to see you again soon. I'm tempted to get the red submarine, but... Alright. That's not fun. Let's check out Phoenix. Holy crap, Phoenix takes so much MP! Oh my god. Did you see how much MP that took? It took like double freaking Neo Bahamut. It took like 250 MP. That'll be worth it. Phoenix looks so cool and doesn't get enough love. That was alright. Took my entire MP bar. No! Oh god, I'm dead. This is the end. Oh, we were even running too. Like we were on our way out. No. I gotta admit, I didn't expect the robot to shoot 1,000 needles and paralyze me. That wasn't what I thought would happen. That's not how it normally occurs. Might have to put on the old immunity. I always forget you can't access the menu in there for some strange reason. I'll do that later. I was gonna do something, I forget what it was. It increases each status, but... you can use the dolphin, I believe, but it's not any faster. Going up the elevator's fine. Something seems to be missing here. What limit break is the most useless? Probably Mind Blow. There's very little enemies in the game that it actually does anything to. There are a few, though, that it breaks, but other than that, it's pretty useless. Also, I believe one of Sid's limit breaks, maybe, is actually like weaker. It hits like everyone, but it does less damage than like one of his other ones. I don't remember exactly. Maybe not. All of Sid's limit breaks are really strong though. Like really strong. And you get them faster than any other limit breaks in the game. I'm trying to think, is there one that's just like completely useless? I don't know, Mind Blow is pretty bad, to be honest. Is Death Blow just a chance to either crit or miss 50% of the time? I don't know if it's exactly 50%, but yeah, it's just an auto crit. But it misses a lot. Death Blow is pretty good. Death Blow added attack is really good, because it's basically 2x cut. But if you're someone that really likes to use Fury, don't use Death Blow, because it'll just miss every time. It still misses a lot, but with added cut, it's still worth it. But yeah, never use Death Blow if you're someone that likes to put on Fury and use limit breaks a lot. Because you will just miss forever. Unless your Cloud is really high level. Or whoever you're using it. Yeah, that's true. Well, you know, the second hit could also crit as well. Death Blow is a crit, and crit doesn't scale with luck, so no. Luck doesn't do anything for you there. Let's use Leviathan, because why not? Like, luck increases your chance to get a crit, so luck doesn't do anything with Death Blow, because Death Blow automatically gives you a crit. Luck is better with, like, 4x cut, because then you have a good chance to crit with, like, all of them. Rip headphone users. No! What the? Why is he shooting himself? I think he blew it. Yeah, funnily enough, Death Blow gives you luck. Most yellow materia does. It's kind of funny because it doesn't do anything with Death Blow. I mean, luck still helps if you use regular attack or added attack with Death Blow. But it's just funny that Death Blow itself doesn't do anything. Luck doesn't help Death Blow at all, but Death Blow gives you luck. It's only one though. One luck doesn't really do too much. Usually if I have open slots, I'll just give people a bunch of yellow materia, because it gives luck stat boost. Alright. This fight kind of blows. What's up, Whitehawk? Good to see you. Aqualung is so good. Kamateo will probably do more damage, but... $255, yeah. Yeah, Vincent... Excuse me. God dang it. These guys are a real pain. Vincent has a lot of 255% accuracy weapons, so Vincent with Death Blow is usually pretty good. Plus, you can sit him in the back row and he still does full damage, so you can have him in the back row with Death Blow, always hitting and taking less damage, which is pretty legit. Alright, I guess I'll just run away from these stupid things. Not really worth fighting. Well, I guess I could just throw on a bunch of ribbons. It's still kind of annoying to fight them though. I don't think Elemental Lightning would help very much, actually. I mean, I'm doing plenty of damage, but even if I wanted to do more damage, because these guys don't take very much physical damage. Like, Cloud did like 400 damage for some reason. Okay, we'll just do... What's your ribbon? Screw it. Do I not have 3 ribbons? I thought I did. Yeah, there's the Vincent Mug Glitch, or as we've come to know it, what's up, Mug Glitches? The Mug Glitch. You can watch my Glitches and Oddities video to learn about that. It's a pretty great glitch. It used to be used in speedruns. Now I don't think the speedrun even gets Vincent. There'd be no reason to. Maybe the no slots does. I'm not sure. I haven't watched a no slot run in a while. And I know the routes changed a lot. I kind of wanted to sit here and watch him die to poison. The poison doesn't do much damage. Bong. Cloud. What are you doing, buddy? What's up, iMatrix? Sorry I didn't say hi to you yet. Doesn't? Yeah, I didn't think it would. The routes changed so much that using the mic glitch would be, like, really slow and not needed. Tifa Deathblow added Cut Fest, yeah. Makes sense. It has been for a while, actually. I thought about going back to my run and grinding it out again, but I really hate speedrunning this game. I like it, but the any percent PC run is just one of the most incredibly terrible speedruns. If you're out there thinking about like speedrunning and you want to speedrun a game, do yourself a favor and don't speedrun any percent PC of Final Fantasy VII. I know you're thinking to yourself like, man, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game and I would love to speedrun it no matter how crazy it is just because I like the game. Do yourself a favor and don't. just don't. Just don't do it. Hey, learn Matra magic. AKA Magic Missile. Yeah, just don't do it. Run no slots on PS1 or literally any other category. Run the slots category first. Run any percent console. Any percent console's fine. That's a great run. Run that. Don't run the PC one. It's terrible. It's absolutely the worst thing ever. What's up, Queen? I give everyone so much credit. Anyone that runs any percent PC, I give you so much credit because I can't. I did it. I got some good times, but I can't do it anymore. It's just too much. Wow. Thanks for the 6,600 damage crit. That's a feels good. You want to not? Alright. No one told me this is, no one told me this is the hardest section of the whole game, I guess. Today's your birthday? Happy birthday, man. My birthday was just last week. Good to see a fellow August birthday. Happy birthday, man. Let's get some Feels Birthday Man in the chat for Queen. I want to see some Feels Birthday Man. Can you explain what any percent PC is? Okay, so if you're not familiar with speedrunning, any percent is getting through the game as fast as possible. That's what most people when you think of speedruns and getting through a game as fast as possible, usually it's any percent. It just means getting to the credits as fast as possible. Then other games might have other categories like 100%, you know, no warps, like whatever. You can come up with a million different things. But any percent is the very core, basic, just get through the game as fast as possible. PC any percent is the Steam version, or the old PC version. So on the PC any percent, basically. The reason that PC any percent is so much different than console is because on PC you can do wrong warping. So on console, the best time is somewhere around 8 hours. On PC any percent, the best time is about 2 hours and 30 minutes. And that's because wrong warping takes you directly to the end of the game once you get past Nibelheim. So the PC any percent route is about 2.5 hours, which you would think like, oh, that's so much better than an 8-hour run, but it's not. Because it's so short, there's a couple reasons. Well, it's not bad because it's short. It's bad because of Yuffie. Yuffie completely ruins the run. It makes such a great run into just absolute garbage. Because basically, in order to do the run, in order to finish the run, you have to do a Yuffie warp, and this Yuffie warp has to be done in the field next to Midgar in order for you to be in the correct spot to set up the wrong warp. And that forest has a remind me, I think it's 8% chance, or is it 12% chance? I think it's either 8 or 12.5% chance to have Yuffie in it. And in order to get a good run, you need to get Yuffie within the first maybe 3 attempts, because every time you miss a Yuffie, every time you get a fight that isn't Yuffie, you have to run away from that fight and then run around and get another fight. So it takes about 15 seconds every time you don't get Yuffie. So to put that in perspective to like anybody that doesn't understand Yuffie warping or wrong warping or anything, just imagine you had a video game where it was a 2-hour game. You had to do everything perfect. It was one of the hardest games you've ever played. It was like Super Meat Boy on crack, and it was 2 hours of complete marathon. You get 1 life, no screwing up. You cannot screw up for 2 hours. 2 hours, you have to be absolutely perfect. Okay? You cannot make any mistakes for these 2 hours. And then at the end of the 2 hours, you have an 8% chance of being able to finish the game. And if you don't get that 8%, the game's over and you have to restart from the beginning. That's kind of what the Final Fantasy VII any percent PC speedrun is like. You could have the most perfect run, you could have the most perfect RNG throughout the whole run. There's a lot of RNG as well, so it's not like 2 hours of flawless gameplay even matters. You might just get a bunch of bad RNG and be screwed. But if you get, you could have perfect RNG throughout the whole run, perfect, everything goes perfectly well, and then at the end you have a 12.5% chance to get Yuffie. And if you don't get it, run's over. Got to start over. And it's just very, very frustrating when you don't get Yuffie and you have a good run. I've dealt with runs before with really bad RNG, but it's by far the worst that I've seen. I've never seen a run 2 hours long and then have a 12.5% chance. I've played done a lot of speedruns that require RNG, but nothing to that magnitude, to where it's all down to luck and that's at the very end of the run. I mean, really, it's about 20 minutes away from finish. And then directly after that, you have another RNG section that's about a 30% chance that can go wrong as well. But that's after Yuffie. So, and I've had times, what's frustrating too, the 12.5% chance is like an extremely frustrating percent, because I've had times where I'm doing a run, just like a practice run, just not trying to get world record, just running the game, and I get to Yuffie and she just straight up doesn't spawn. I've sat there for an hour before and Yuffie just never shows up. So that can be really frustrating. Like, you want to at least be able to finish the run, even if it's not that good of a run. You want to be able to just finish it. Not everyone needs to get world record, but you want to at least, finish it and be like, I beat the game. But sometimes Yuffie just will not spawn. I've sat there forever. She just will not 12% is a terrible. It's just bad. Have you ever rolled the dice wanting a 6? And you could just sit there and you never get a 6, you know? That's kind of what it's like. It's just frustrating. And then on top of that, there's step counts, which I'm just bad at step counts. So that's kind of what took me away from the run. RNG is one thing, and I can get over it. You know, you just grind it and grind it and grind it, and eventually you get good RNG. But I'm really bad at the step count, and there are runners that are much better than me at the step count, and so I just kind of hand the torch off to them and say, "Here you go, do the step count. You're better at it than me. You go. You got it. You show them. You show them what's good." Well, I never confused these things before. It looks pretty funny. Like spinning around. And for those of you that don't know what the step count is, basically, random encounters in this game aren't random. They're actually fixed based on how many steps you take. So, for the whole beginning of the game, there's a step count you can do where you count your steps and you know exactly what random encounters you're going to get, and through that you can save a bunch of time. But I could never, my movement was just never good enough. If you make one mistake, your step counts off and it screws up everything, and then you have to do math in your head to find out how many steps you're behind and all this stuff, and I was just never good at it. Erythium's really good at it. One of our viewers here that speedruns Final Fantasy VII. He's really good at it. There are a lot of people that are really good at it. I just never wanted to put in the time to get good at it. Hey! It's our buddy. Is he immune to Demi? I want to say he is. I don't know how much health he has either. Dang it. Alright, I don't know if I can do this. Because I don't know how much health he has. Especially on hardcore mod. Yeah, 12.5% chance might sound good, but there's just times where you'll never get it, you know? It's weird. There's just times when like I said, I've sat there. I remember I had to, I was making the Yuffie video, the in-depth look at Yuffie video, and I was trying to get the Yuffie encounter in that forest. I don't remember why, because I could have just used a different forest, but for some reason I was using that one. Oh no, it wasn't that. Yeah, because I just used the 99% one for that. It was the video that I showed off Yuffie warping, and I was trying to get that encounter, and I was there for like an hour. It was terrible. I mean, sometimes it just never happens. And I've seen so many runs that were so good, and then you just get there and she doesn't show up, and it's pretty frustrating. So yeah, but yeah, it's a mixture between that and step counting. I'm just not good at it. I got a pretty good time on Final Fantasy VII at 80%. I was pretty happy with it, and so I just left it there and said, hey, people can beat it, you know, if they want. Oh god, just run. You can't win this. You can't win this alone. I don't know. I don't know if I can sense this guy. He probably has too much HP. Yeah, RNG is a pretty funny thing in Pokemon speedruns as well. It's basically an entire huge RNG fest. Not to mention Gen 1 miss, which is like hilarious. If you've never watched a Pokemon run, I highly recommend you check them out sometime, because they're pretty interesting. There's a thing called Gen 1 miss, where in the oh god, I just realized I got a pincer attack. Our lives are over. GG boys. 9,400 damage. Because it was a crit and a pincer attack. Feels good, man. Feels good to get that 9,000 damage from a random battle. But yeah, basically in Gen 1, for whatever reason, they made every single attack in the game have a 1 in 256 chance to miss for no reason. No one knows why. I think it had something to do with like the way the game was programmed. I don't even know if it was on purpose or not. But every attack in the game, even Swift, even like an attack that auto hits, every attack in the game has a 1 in 256 chance to miss. Which sounds like, okay, you're never going to see that, so what's it matter? But for speedrunners that run the game every single day and do, 6-hour speedruns of the game, they see it every once in a while, and it can ruin a whole speedrun if you need an attack and it just misses for no reason. I always just thought that was really interesting. I don't know if I could run a game that had something like that. I would get so mad if I was on a good run and a 1 in 256 chance blew it for me. You know what I mean? Like, that would probably just tilt me off the plane. I could probably never run the game again. I could never play the game again. I would just break the game in half and play other video games for the rest of my life. I would never live it down, But yeah, if you want to know how broken Gen 1 coding is, just watch the any % speedrun of Pokemon Red. It is 0 seconds long. The world record for Pokemon Red any % is 0 seconds. That is a very special run. Very special, interesting. Oh, is it yellow? I thought it was red. Can it be done in all of them or no? It's only yellow.